What's going on, y'all? Make sure y'all get the likes up when you come in here. I appreciate everybody that was patient waiting for us to get situated. I'm very thankful for everybody that took the time to hit the link, come in here, and finally get to see the man that's been making the ruckus for the past few days, man. David, how are you?
I'm fine. Thank you very much, JV.
I appreciate you being here, man. So let me ask you a few things. I know everything has been so sudden. How's your life been for the past 2 days, man, since everything has took its course?
Well, I think because X is the one um, one place that I sort of know how to operate. Um, I've never had that much. I've never had that much popularity. So, but at the same time, I had a little bit of experience with it, so I was able to control that a little. But yeah, all over the place. Seeing that I'm all over the place and I can't do anything about it, it was a bit frustrating. I don't know how to use
Yeah.
Instagram, you know, all these other places that I hear that people are talking about me. But when I got on X and I waited a couple of days because I didn't think about it being on there. And when I got on there, I was like, oh my God. And the minute I started talking, people were like, there you are. I didn't know you were waiting.
So you went in Twitter and saw everything just go into play right after that.
I did.
Yeah, it's usually what happens. Yeah, they're a lot crazier on Twitter, to be honest with you. Everybody just goes crazy on Twitter, to be
Yeah.
completely honest with you. But let me ask you, so how long have you been a court artist?
Since 2003. So quite a long
2003.
time. Yeah. I walked into Old City Hall and I was doing some activism for the Committee to Stop Targeted Policing.
Mm,
And yeah, it was way back in 2003, and they were doing a lot of things going on. They called it the CAP program, community. I forget what it was about, but it was yeah. They were targeting a lot of people, asking for ID, and people didn't know their rights, and they
oh,
were just giving it up. And so I got involved with that group, the Committee to Stop Targeted Policing. And then one day they said, could you go to court since you're an artist? And I went into the Otto Voss manslaughter case. It was 4 police officers who murdered a guy in cold blood on the street. Cameras weren't even around. So the whole case was just smoke and mirrors.
wow.
And yeah, it took about a year and a half, 350 paintings. And I went into the world of court art.
And that's the thing that people are taken back by. You were somebody that was just doing their job, and that's why you were there, or you so happened to be there that same day. It wasn't like you were following this guy. You weren't following Drake around. You were just doing what you do every day since 2003.
That's right. I was literally on a break from my courtroom closed down for an hour. And I
Yeah.
said, I'm going in that room.
Oh, so
That's
you just pick what room you want to go to?
how I do. And I have a lot on my plate in the court cases since COVID.
Yeah.
I left the court for 2 years during COVID. And when I went back, they have this thing called in Toronto, it's called a mega court. They put
Right.
all the courts together in one place, 10 Armory Street. And I went back to that. I went into that. And I just started working, and it's directly across the street from where the Drake trial was taking place. It's the Superior Court. And the
Mm,
difference in the two courts is the Superior Court can house a jury, 12 people, where the court 10 Armory, which is like 12 stories of courtrooms. It's incredible, scary as heck, but at the same time beautiful architecturally.
right.
And I just happened to be in the Superior Court across the street where the juries are, and I was watching a case, and they went on break. And I went downstairs, and I just walked into that family court, and I walked right by the bodyguard. When I saw him, he was sitting so close to the door. I thought that was a little peculiar. And I thought for sure, oh, he's a really angry father. I don't blame anybody for being angry in court, but I still thought this guy's a little bit like, why is he so like that? And so when I got to the door, it was open, and I looked at the docket, and it had initials. It didn't have names. It had initials of both parties.
So what were the initials?
I don't recall, and I do have it written down. I try to keep everything. It could be on the back of the painting, or I really don't know where it is right now. But I wrote it. I wrote it down.
So it would have the woman's initials, and it would have Drake's initials.
That's right. Yeah, who they were, and I believe it was their real names. So it didn't. It just didn't. I didn't know, but I didn't care anyways. I just thought, oh, that's different. It has initials. And then the bodyguard said, "Do you have to go in this room?"
Oh, so they did it. So it was the bodyguards that work for the court.
Yeah, he was right outside the door. He said, "Do you have to go in this room?" And there were police officers sitting behind me, and I just thought, whatever's going on in this room, it seems a little weird. And I didn't know that.
Do you have that painting, that with their initials?
It wasn't a painting. I just wrote it down. Like,
oh, okay.
I wrote down what was on the docket, so that when I do donate my stuff to the Ontario Archives,
right,
they have some sort of connection. They have something to go by.
Okay. So that was going to be my question for you. We'll get back to the initials right now, because I wanted to ask you: are you able to publicly just join any courtroom? Because that was the conversation. We were saying yes. It's similar to the American law, where when you could go into a courtroom freely, nobody's really going to prevent you from doing so. Nobody would really care, right?
Even family,
yeah. Nobody really cared. Well, at least in my experience, going to a courthouse, people could just walk in and just watch any case, really, family, whether it be for something more severe, something more drastic. So, but you're saying that you've always just been able to just choose a room, pick a room, and go to either one.
That's right.
And then what happened when you chose Drake's courtroom? The bodyguard there was giving you an issue, telling you if you really had to go in there or not.
That's right.
And then he pushed you?
No, nothing happened like that until after I entered the room. So what happened was,
walk me down your day that this happened.
Okay. So when I was about to go into the room, first I read it, and he was right below me. So I thought, I can't hardly even read this docket. This guy is so close to me. Why is he sitting so close to the door? Why are there cops across the hall? And then I said, okay, I'm satisfied. I read the docket. Doesn't make sense to me. But anyways, then I went to open the door, and he says, do you have to go in there? And I said, yes, I have to go in here. And he goes, and then I just walked in. So I walked right by him. And then I went in, and there was one woman sitting at the back in the pews, and Drake and all the lawyers were at the front. There was probably around 10 people in front of the judge. I didn't look. I just started to set up my supplies to start painting. And then I saw the commissioner come towards me. And that's when I thought, okay, this guy's coming really fast. What's he going to talk about? So I sort of like stood up a little bit just to say, what's going on? And that's when he was like really aggressive. And he said, get out. And I was like, whoa, hold on. And before I knew it, the room was very small. The area where I was sitting, it was just
that tiny. Was the commissioner.
The commissioner, yeah.
So what is his like? Does he have control over all the people there, the security there?
No, most commissioners are part-time jobs, but they do have the authority to well, they're really supposed to guide people to where they're supposed to go. They're supposed to guide people and let them know, could you be quiet when you go in the room, all of that stuff. they're really there to make the transition of students and stuff going into rooms a lot easier.
Right.
A lot of them are retired, but I do see a lot of students doing the job. It's very low paying. So when he did this, he's been there for a long time, and he is a bit of an older man. And I knew him to be a real grumpy guy, but this day he was really mean. And what happened was I just said, okay, cool. And by the time he got me to the door, he was like, get out. And I was like, whoa.
What?
And I was like, what is going on? Like, I expected to have a bit of a conversation with him. And then when I got in between those doors, that's when Drake's bodyguard was there. And he goes, you said that you had to come in here. And I said, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? Like, what's the problem? And then when I went out in the hall, I could see the police. They were just watching me and him go back and forth with words. And then I just said, well, fuck it, right? I'm just going to sit here and paint the door. And I do that a lot. If there's an issue and I'm waiting to go back into the room, I'll paint it. But when somebody gets really aggressive with me or something like that, or there's something that really gets to me, I will just wait and just find out. And I'll talk maybe to the Crown when they come out, or talk to somebody and say, what's the issue? What's the issue? So then all of a sudden they went on break. And this is the funny part. This is where I met Drake. I was like, okay. So I'm sitting down, I'm thinking about what I'm going to paint. And I thought, well, first of all, let's paint that bodyguard because he's fucking so pushy. The cops were just watching.
The bald guy with the red shoes.
That's right. Yeah. Okay. And then all of a sudden the door opened up and then Drake came out and he looked straight at me and I looked straight at him. And I was like, who the fuck are you? I was like, I have no idea, but his face did look familiar. And I just thought, okay. And then he went into the washroom, but he just kept staring at me. And then he went into the washroom and he's really like looking at me like, how dare you? And I was like, who are you? Like, I thought maybe he was, at this point, a lawyer. But then I thought, well, maybe not. I don't know. And so then the person I was watching upstairs, his trial, he walked by. And I said, hey, listen, there's this man. He just went in the washroom. Could you tell me, is he famous? Is he somebody? I said, he looks familiar. And then the guy stood by. And when he came out, Drake looked at him and he looked at him and they both nodded. The man said he did know him. They've done stuff together. They were friends. And I
wait. So you asked the guy, do you know who he is? And Drake gave him the look in a way to tell him not to tell you who he was.
No, he just came out and casually said hi to him. Suddenly he just walked out of the building. Drake walked out, but he walked by this guy and he said hi. He was all nice. He wasn't like he was to me, sort of like, how dare you? This guy was like, hey, and they just nodded. And then the guy the minute that Drake was gone, the guy looked at me and goes, he's Drake. I said, okay, he's Drake. And
wait. So you said that because you had left a comment I saw somewhere on YouTube that you said that Drake looked upset when he was coming into court.
That moment that I photographed him, that I caught him on film.
Which one? When you saw him walk by you in person, or when you were?
Well, when I saw him come out of the courtroom the first time, he did look upset. Like, he looked right at me. It wasn't like a pleasant, hey, how you doing? What are you, the press? Blah, blah, blah. He was looking at me like, just
this
weird.
Is coming out of the courtroom when he's coming out for break.
My first time laying eyes on him. Yeah, we didn't greet each other at all. We just stared at each other. And I'm like, who are you? And he's like, who are you? And then he went straight into the washroom. The washroom right across from, I was sitting in the hall, so he came out and he used the washroom. So
the bathroom. Oh, okay, yeah.
The bathroom. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Yeah. So he went into the bathroom, and then that's when the guy I was watching upstairs I was following his case. He walked by because we were both on a break from his case. And when he came by, I said, hey, do you know this guy? And that's what he did. He waited when Drake came out of the bathroom. They greeted each other quite nicely. And but the guy was pretty excited. You could see he was a little starstruck. And the minute I knew it was Drake, I was starstruck. I was like, what? you know how that happens. I don't know if you know how it happens, but it does. It happened to me a couple of times.
Wow.
Like Pierre Trudeau's.
Like you weren't expecting to see them at that time.
Yeah. Well, once I knew he was a star, I said, "Oh my God,
Yeah.
did I just fall into something here? I'm doing Drake's trial. Like this is weird. And why did they kick me out?" And at the same time, I was like, "I'm sticking around."
Yeah.
And that's when I went outside because Drake went on a break. And then I went outside and I started to make the video. So when he came back from break, that's when he walked by me while I was making the video. Because he went out another door. I didn't expect him to come into that other door. Because I went out one door, he went out another. But when he came back after his break, he came in the door where I actually caught him on film. And yeah, he looked upset at me too when I did that. But no words were exchanged, just looks. Yeah.
I don't think it was a pleasant thing in court if he was coming out upset, was he? I mean, that I only get that feeling. Like if you're coming out of court upset, it must be because something didn't go your way in there. I could only assume. I don't know, but
I just think he was upset that I was in the room and that
like that he got caught. You're saying that he was upset that you were there.
There was definitely no press in the hall. There was nobody. Nobody was around.
Empty.
Yeah. In fact, the press, when they walked by, the woman I have in the painting, that's the Globe and Mail. I think she's the Globe and Mail. She was surprised, but I still think they didn't want to touch it. They didn't want to touch it. Like I didn't see any coverage on it, but she did stand by. Yeah. And then,
so how many people were with Drake? Like, was there a certain number of people that were with him?
No, he seemed to be on his own. I think he had 2 or 3 lawyers. I didn't see, but when I went outside,
2 or 3 lawyers. Wow.
2 or 3 lawyers. Yeah. Well, she had about 7.
7 lawyers?
Oh my God. They were all women, and they were all like, at first I didn't know who I was looking at.
Hold on. He had 3 lawyers and she had 7.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I don't really remember, but at the same time, I don't remember him having as many as her. There's something about it. It was the way they were all surrounding her. And he always came out. He didn't seem to. Well, maybe, I don't know. I don't know how he communicated with his lawyers, but it wasn't in the hall. So when I'd see his lawyers come out, they just went off. When she came out, they all got in the hall and talked. And he had about 6 cars outside, vehicles, that I noticed later. Because when he did leave, I tried to get him again on film, and it didn't work. He had 2 cars in front of the building, and then he had about 6 cars around. And when he left, it was like, whoa! They all left. And that's how I found out he had another trial. Because then I went to court the next day and the next day and the next day. And it was, I think, around the 3rd day, I looked across the street and I said, whoa, they're all parked there again. He's back. So I went in and I got a better chance of painting her again. Because she came out and I painted her.
I think that was the next question I was going to ask. Because I didn't know. I need to clarify. So they came separately. I was going to ask if she came with Drake or if they came separately.
They definitely weren't hanging out that day. She did sit alone. So the first day, like when I went back in after I filmed him, I had a chance to get a little bit of, I think, to paint her. I'm not sure if I got a chance to paint her that day, but when I went back the second time, for sure. And remember when she came out in the hall, she saw me. She looked at me too because she saw the commotion at the back of the courtroom, and all of her lawyers were around her, and then they left her all alone. And then all of a sudden they said, "Go back into the courtroom." So it was just me and her and the bodyguard. Yeah. No, I don't think the bodyguard was there yet. And it was just me and her. And I said, "Tell the judge I want to get in the room." And she looked at me. She goes, "Excuse me?" I said, "Tell the judge that I want to get in the room. This is a public trial." And she just says, and she smiled, and she just didn't do anything about it. She was just pleasant. She just didn't understand the situation, and I guess she didn't care. And she just went into the courtroom. But it was, I think, yeah.
let me ask you, because the chat wants to know: was she white? Was she black? Was she Mexican? Was she?
Like I said, I thought she was Italian. She looked so much like Sophie Lawrence. I don't know if you know Sophie Lawrence.
Yes, that was supposed to be Drake's baby mom. That was another thing that people were confused by, because I think one day you had reposted that it wasn't her, and then later on, or I think the next day, you said that it did look like her.
No, I'm saying Sophie Lawrence was a movie star back in the 1960s.
Oh, so another, okay, another Sophie. Okay,
Yeah, she was a movie star and very much.
wow.
Um, sorry, I can't even remember her name now. What's the name? Um,
The Drake's
Sophie. Oh
Drake's
yeah,
wife?
Sophie. The woman's name was Sophie too.
Yeah.
So I was surprised when I heard that, because I don't know. Does she have some Italian blood in her? I don't know.
No, no, she's French actually.
French. So yeah, French Canadian.
I'm not sure. From what possibly people just say French. That's all I know. But what people were confused about was that at one moment you had reposted a thing on Twitter that said that that wasn't her, and then later on people were like sending you pictures of his baby mama, and then that's when you were like, well, it kind of does look like her, but we just wanted clarification, because if it did look like her, then so be it. But from what it looked like you said it wasn't, and then you said that it was. So,
Yeah.
do you think that the pictures that they were sending you, did it look like his baby mama, or did it look like
Right.
somebody else that looked like her?
Yeah, it got very confusing, because you could imagine she's in court. She was completely dressed down. She was dressed like you wouldn't believe. It was so beautiful. That's how she stood out. She was definitely somebody with money. The way she was dressed, she had a way of style. I could see that this lady was not a lawyer. She was completely. She was different than everybody else. That's how, when I looked at her, I said, that must be Drake's, you know,
You
the
said
other
girlfriend, right, or something like that?
girlfriend. Yeah. And so when that's what I mean. When I started to draw her, I did think she was Italian. But what happened was, I when they sent pictures, she was smiling at parties and she was doing this and that. You can't make that out. But one picture they sent me, it was exactly her. She was sitting in the same profile, because I was sitting over here, she was over there. I was sitting, almost like 20 feet away from her. And she was, the way her body was turned, her profile. So when they showed me that picture of her and she had just a slight smile, I said, oh, that's definitely her. And then I looked her up, and everything about her legs, they completely stand out. I mean, there was something very unique about her body. Now, I looked at her Instagram maybe about 4 hours ago, and I say, okay, because when she got up and walked, I was like, wow, okay, like she has
a big ass.
A Kardashian sort of look. And so when I saw that, I was like, holy mackerel. Because when I was drawing her legs was sticking out, because it went up a little bit. She was wearing like slacks or whatever you call them. And that went up a little bit. I think she was posing for me a little bit. Just the way
Really?
Yeah, that's just the way she made her leg and her heels come out. And I thought that was nice, because a lot of people do that in court when they see me painting them. They get all sort of like in a position, and they get in profile. So I'm used to that. And when she did that, she gave me a little smile. I realized, oh, she's cool with this. Like, I don't mind, because when I do it, if I'm painting somebody and they're not cool with it, it's a little uncomfortable. But she made me feel comfortable painting her. So I had a chance to do it without feeling like anxiety. So yeah, it was totally her. Now the face, everything about her. And
this is because, and just to be clear, this is because people were sending you pictures of her, and they were telling you, does this, out of all the women that they probably tried to show you, was this the one that looked like her? And you were like, yeah, this is, out of all the ones, this is the one that looks like her. I just want to make sure.
Yeah, that I was 100% sure.
But you see, okay, go for it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was 100% sure. They were showing me pictures of her with black hair. They were showing me pictures of her with like curly hair. I was like, she didn't smile that big. She wasn't, in that mood. She was very much in the courtroom.
Was she upset?
No, she wasn't upset, but she was definitely serious. She was being very serious. I think at any minute she thought I was going to walk across and start asking her questions like a journalist. She didn't know who I was. Most people think I'm a journalist. So the minute they see me drawing, including the crown, a lot of the people, the crowns don't know who I am. They don't talk to me.
Right.
Excuse me, we're not talking to the press. I can't talk to judges. I can't talk to crowns. But once the crowns realize that my stuff is being donated and is just going right back to them, they always relax. Oh, you're just doing documentary work. And I say, yeah, and they can talk to me, but they're warned not to talk to the press.
So, and this is the picture that you saw, right? And you said that this was her.
Yeah, the way she looked at me, and when I was drawing her, I was trying to get all of those features, like her lips. That's exactly, I said, oh my God, she has gorgeous lips. I was trying to get them. And the eyebrows, I was trying to get them. Right. And well, what I remember is that her hair was lighter. It was just a little bit lighter, but they always change their hair color. And it was very much, I think, like that too. Oh yeah, it was pulled back. So everything about it was very conservative. She was very.
And I think the part that I want to highlight, and this is what I said in the live, I'm not sure if you watched it. It's not about who the lady was. It's why are they there in the first place? Exactly. I think that's the whole thing. People are caught up about, well, who is this mystery lady? Is it his baby mama? Is it so and so? The point is why are you even in family court to begin with? And why does she have 7 lawyers? That's a big team of lawyers.
Yeah.
And why is Drake coming with 3?
Yeah. They could have, like, a lot of times there's a lot of lawyers, but it's the whole firm. The whole firm's involved. They all go to support the one person who speaks. Like, there's always one in charge. Like I was just in one the day before, and I got the painting of the one lawyer who was talking about the case. This woman was trying to take the child, the man's child, to England because she said she couldn't get a job in Canada. And I mean, it was totally ridiculous. Wow. And it was so sad. And the guy was like, I'm not having it. I can't do this. And she was put on the stand and they were talking about it. And I could see the judge. I mean, you never really hear, they always send them a written report. Like, this is what my decision is. So even as an observer, it's frustrating because I never know the outcome unless I look into it real hard, and I just don't bother. I send my stuff to the Ontario Archives, and I hope one day other people follow up on it and hear what the judge said in the end. But in the courtroom, I was listening to them, take them away. So I forget where I was going.
No, and that's the whole thing that I've been trying to tell people. It's not much about who the woman was. It's more so, why are they there? And you were trying to tell people, it's almost impossible to guess why they're there for what reason, right? You couldn't even tell us.
That's right. So she could have hired one lawyer, but the whole firm came because it was such a big case. They probably all wanted to see Drake. They probably all wanted to.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Involved. So even though she was surrounded by a lot of people, there was one woman who stayed with her a little more than the rest. And in fact, she got in the way. That's why I didn't get her hands, because this woman put a bag right in front of her hands. And I'm like, oh, no. And I wasn't going to say anything. I felt like saying, excuse me. But I just said, act professional, Dave.
And that was another thing that I was going to ask you. So when the lawyer, you said that when he came out of break, he looked upset, right?
When Drake first met me, yeah, he looked at me like, gave me the eyeball.
But going into this scenario, it doesn't seem like this was a a cordial type of scenario, right? It wasn't like they were getting along this whole time.
Well, between them and he was upset with me, I believe. The next day when I went back, Sophie came down the hall, and the bodyguard was in the hall. And I think Drake was already, at one point they split them up. So the judge only wanted to talk to Drake in private with his lawyers. And then they wanted to talk with Drake and the lawyers. And then Sophie had a chance to go in. So while she was waiting in the hall, she came down the hall, and the bodyguard and her gave each other a hug. And they were really like, it was really nice. There was no like, oh, you're wrecking his life or anything. But I never saw her and Drake embrace. But I also didn't see them giving each other issues. I don't even recall seeing them together at any point. He would always come out and completely leave the building. And when she came out, she had nowhere to go.
So she'll stay inside.
Yeah, she just waited in the hall.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Because I think the reason why I'm asking is because when people say that it's Sophie, from the public's understanding, Drake and Sophie are good. Like there's no animosity there. So if this is Sophie, it is strange how they're not being cordial with each other. It doesn't seem like that would be an issue if they were in good standing with each other. You see what I mean? But that's just what people are, saying. Or maybe maybe it is her, and maybe they're getting into something that led them to go to court, because family court is a serious matter. And we were looking up, because you called him the respondent, correct? You called him
That's right.
The respondent. So she would have to be the petitioner for this scenario, correct?
That's right.
And she would have had to serve him to go to court. Like she would have to in some way subpoena him for him to show up in person, right?
That's right.
So that's what I'm saying. So if it was so severe where he had to get served papers to show up in court, my only take back of it being Sophie is, if they were good or in good standings, why are they having these issues now? If it's still her that you saw, you know what I mean? That's where I'm confused, because I know that in your scenario, this is all just new. This is all just new. I mean, I know that you barely knew who she was, and now you're figuring out who she is. So I'm sure you wouldn't know their dynamic. But I'm just telling the chat right now, it is strange how, if it is Sophie, it doesn't seem like they're cool when they're going to court with each other. Y'all tell me, chat, how you feel about that. But I do appreciate David taking his time to step in here. And I wanted to talk about the security guards. You said the security guards were humiliating you or something like that, because you said that you could walk into court or so. What was that something?
Well, no, just at that point when I came in and I was stuck between the two doors when the commissioner kicked me out. Yeah, me and the security, we had words, and he was being like, "Why are you doing this?" And I was like he doesn't know who I am, and I had no idea who he was. I couldn't understand why this man was so upset, and why is he guarding the door? Like, I didn't understand it. So the cops just sat there, and I just thought they didn't get involved. So let me go back to sort of my what I think she was there for.
Okay.
So the day, the 2 weeks before this happened, I was in a court case, and what happens is the father had to pay for his two daughters for years and years, and suddenly one of the daughters was 18, and she was out doing her own thing. But the father, he was a fireman, and he had a new family, but he still had to pay for the other family. But one of the things that he paid for, and he objected to paying for, was his wife's, was the baby's, his wife's. After he divorced her, he was still paying for her lifestyle and for everything. And to me, it was a little outrageous. The woman just wouldn't work. She wouldn't work, and he kept asking for the money. And I'm only guessing, but I assume that Drake is giving child support. But it could have been, my guess is that she wanted support. She wanted payment too. That is what I believe she was there for. I have a feeling that that's what it was. I'm only guessing, but I have a feeling it's about how much money she wanted. Not only the child gets support, sometimes the person, the father, has to pay for the mother too. I don't really understand it. But if he makes a lot more money than the mother, then they'll do it. But because they're not married, maybe she realized, okay, I'm going to have to do this another way. I think if you're married, you get that. The father has to pay the mother for the house, for all this and for all that, not just child support, to keep them in their lifestyle. And that's believe
the
she was.
problem is that I don't think that Drake was married to her ever.
No, and so, but she was still the mother, and she has to
Mother and
pay
child, yeah.
the rent and this and that. If she takes it out of her child support, I really don't know. I'll never know. But if the child support was going to pay the house bills and this and that, it doesn't seem like child support. But I imagine that they're both doing well. Something tells me that she may have got what she wanted. I don't know. I really don't, but I hope she did. I hope that she has as much support as she needs to give this kid a good future. I mean, he's as far as I'm concerned, the child is like somebody that is. It's a Canadian. It's a Canadian. I don't know if he is Canadian, but people
Yeah,
will
he
be
is.
watching him in the future. We want him to get the best out of
And
everything.
I remember in your letter you said that you had wrote a letter to Judge Diamond or
That's right.
Justice Diamond about the scenario. So did you ever submit that letter to the judge who was covering this case?
They wouldn't accept it. They wouldn't accept it. They said he won't take the letter, and that's when they did say he said he won't take the letter, and that's when I went outside and I just read the letter.
Oh, so you tried to give it to him that day?
Yeah. And when I did go back the second time, after I also went in and I tried to complain and the commissioner came up and I could tell that it got back to him. He came up and apologized. I'm really sorry that I did that. I'm really sorry that I did that. And then also the next day, Drake's bodyguard was pleasant. He wasn't like overly pleasant, but he wasn't giving me any. Everybody was just cool. We were all cool the second day. The second time I ended up doing a little bit more drawing. Everybody was, even Drake came out. He actually said hi to some other people, and it wasn't at all bad. Everybody was cool the second day. I think they found out who I was, and they realized, well, he has a right to be upset.
And then that's another thing that I was going to ask. So who do you think privated the room? Was it Drake or was it just the courtroom in general because they knew he was coming?
I believe the judge. I believe that they were worried that the room was going to get packed with fans, and that was the thing. I was. It didn't. They were very secretive about it. Like really, when I walked in, I think they were so worried about fans. It was insane. Like there were people that were because I'm drawing. Nobody ever stops me in the hallways. They don't ever stop me, but you wouldn't believe how many people came in and held their cameras up in the hall. And the police would come in and they would come down and say, please, ma'am, put the camera away, put the camera away. So they were at people all day because most of the staff in the building were aware that Drake was in the building and they were all coming down. They were going in the room. That sort of pissed me off. All the sort of people who were working, all the clerks and this and that, they just walked straight in. And I just said, oh, so you can go in and gawk at him and I can't go in and friggin' paint. Like, are you kidding me?
Wow.
Yeah, that really pissed me off. And then the second day, they were more strict about it. And they were telling people, stop coming in and gawking at him. And by the way, they put a sign up that says public not allowed. So.
The next day, right? Or whenever, because you went twice, right?
Yeah, when I did it the second time. After I read the letter and this and that, I think I don't know if they saw, nobody saw the video until Canada Cop Watch put it on.
4 months later, yeah. 4 months later, everybody taps in.
Yeah.
And that 2 days, is that telling? Are things like that lasting 2 days in family court?
Oh, that could have went on forever. They could have, yeah. Sometimes these things go on forever. Like people who go into family court, like the one case where that guy was his wife was asking him to still pay for her life, for all the house, for everything. He said he's been in court for almost like 15 years. Says it's crazy. And both of them were broke. The father and the mother, they didn't even have lawyers. They represented themselves because they owed so much money to the lawyers. Like, it's crazy how people can't sort these things out without going to court.
Yeah, because 2 days is crazy. And the way that they set it up, it seems like They were trying to be private about this for the whole 2 days. But my whole thing is after the judge, after you try to speak to the judge and he said that he didn't want no parts in it, you called him the respondent, right?
That was
Are we
written on the
certain
door.
that he is the respondent for sure?
Yeah, because I wrote it down. I wrote it down. So when I wrote the letter, I made sure I had all the proper terminology for what I was looking
Right.
at. Like, what am I doing here? So yeah, I made sure I wrote it down somewhere. It's probably it's on the back of a file somewhere. It could be in a book that I had that I was carrying that day. And so when I wrote the letter, I had a whole bunch of things in front of me. The way you did the video I saw today.
Yeah.
The guy was looking up the judge. I was looking up this. I was looking up that. But I definitely I didn't have to use their initials or show who I was talking about to the judge in the letter, because it was obviously that day he was in court. So I talked about the room more than anything. I just said, why am I kicked out of this room? And that's what they told me. They said, we're talking, when they told me that the judge would say nothing but stay out of the room. That was all they wanted to say. They didn't want to say, stay out of the Drake case. Because I sort of tried to get her to commit to that. I said, are you telling me not to go in because of the Drake case? She goes, no, because the room is closed. However I phrased it in the letter. She was very insistent on saying, no, yeah, I'm saying this. The room is closed. That's what I'm saying. Not the Drake case is closed. The room is closed. And I said, okay, then.
So that means the records are public, right?
Yes. And I guess that's for the press. Like, we want to see, is he doing the right thing? Is Drake doing the right thing? Is he taking care of the people who are in his life? That's what it is.
Y'all tell him, man, David cooking right now, y'all, because that was the whole thing. You were mad that you couldn't go in and try to prove, because your whole side was that the fathers need people present to see what's going on, because there's been a lot of injustice coming from the other side. Because people would take one side and they didn't know that the father was. So people being there publicly was actually supposed to be in support of Drake. If you were there, you would have been in support of Drake, because you would see if he was in the right or in the wrong. But if he is blocking you from the courtroom, is he doing anything good, or is it something so bad that he doesn't want the public to know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that was the problem. You were always on the stance of, if you let me in, I could tell the people that you didn't have any harm, or you weren't on the wrong end of the stick here.
That's right.
But if you don't let me in, that's telling within itself.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I don't know why he didn't say, I want to allow the press in the room. Like, there could have been, at least the press was allowed in the room. He could have said that. I want people to know I'm doing the right thing, or she's asking for too much, or like, nobody knows what happened. So it just seems, then why not? I think that if it's not public, we're not saying anything that people want to know. Like, people want to know how much, like, I see so many stars, they talk about exactly how much they're getting. Like, it's not a big deal. I don't think it's a big deal. So whatever she was asking for, maybe he thought she was asking for too much, and maybe not. But yeah, you want to, for me, I belong to the Canadian Centre for Men and Families, and we do support this. Men are in real problems inside courtrooms, especially. Women just walk away, and with the child, Canada is sort of, so far behind. I think it was Judge Judy. When I started to hear Judge Judy start to tell people who would get up in court, she would say, the father gets equal access. And you can just see people, the people's face, like the girls going, no, it's my baby. And Judge Judy would say, no, it's both of your babies. And that was it was pleasant when I saw that coming from Judge Judy. And I don't know how much the states, treat that equally. But in Canada, we are so far behind. Men shelters, like the Canadian Centre for Men and Families right now, it's the first shelter for men and their families. There are like huge amounts of women's shelters for the women and their
Right.
children. This is the first one in Canada. It only happened 4 years ago. It's 4 years old. We're so far behind with what's going on, and the courts in Canada, they're very biased against men. Like they just don't get it yet.
And that's the thing that I'm trying, because a lot of people that go to family court, it's for a lot of crazy things. It's for paternity tests, domestic violence, what else? Divorce court. It's all of these things. So going to family court is never a good thing to go to in general, especially if the woman has to drag you into court herself.
That's right.
And so when everybody talks about who this woman is, I don't think it matters about who the woman is. It's about, why is Drake going to family court, and is the reason bad, or is it good, or is it not that big of a deal? But I wanted to ask you, because you were keeping up with the story to figure out those things. Did you ever catch up? Because I saw that you had posted on YouTube, and then you had stopped posting videos about it after a while. Was there any reason for that, or did they just stop showing up?
Oh yeah, I had no way of finding out when they were going to be there. I mean, when I would go to the courtroom across the street, the mega court, if it wasn't for the way that Drake sort of positioned himself with all of his bodyguards and the way they parked their cars when they went into that family court, I wouldn't have spotted it. But it was only like maybe when I went in the first time, the judge must have said, everybody come back next Wednesday. And I wouldn't have been there to hear that. But when I saw him leave, I was like, oh, look at that. Oh my God. Like I didn't see the cars at first until he took off in his car. And then I could see all these cars following him. So when I went back the second time,
Right.
it was like the next week, I was like, oh, he's back. Like it was so obvious. It was the same setup. And that's the only way I found out about it. And I tried to go to the docket office in the courthouse, and I said, "Hey, when's Drake coming back?" And they said, "We're not giving you any more information. You're not getting any. It's private." And I was just like, "This is crazy.
Right.
This is crazy. Like, why? What's going on here?" Like, so, anyways, yeah, I couldn't follow him after that. I would have had to look for those cars every day. And I go to all different sort of trials, and my focus can't be on, I wonder if Drake's coming back. So I don't know if it continued, if they're still doing it. Sometimes they go on for a long time. I'll never know what was going on. Yeah.
So you could have just saw it like happen, and it could still be happening now. They could still be over there.
They could still be going to court.
Yeah.
I'll never know. And so I just only had those 2 days, and I was glad I did, because I got a little bit. I got enough of it that you recognize that guy's clothes. I remember when I was drawing that bodyguard's clothes.
The Jordans, yeah.
I was like, I remember looking at it, I go, that what he's wearing is probably something, because I'm not up with clothes, fashion and stuff. And when you caught that, I said, oh, I'm so glad you caught that, because I was trying to get the detail because of the way it fit him and stuff. And I said, I bet you that's sort of like a popular look right now. So.
And because people are gonna, because I know you're in the middle of this crazy back and forth between a lot of people. I'm the first person you spoke to, right? You haven't talked to anybody, Drake, nobody, right? The courts,
no.
Nobody, right?
Okay. Yeah, watching your videos, and you just seem like, I was watching with my roommate. We were laughing our heads off, especially when you called me senior citizen.
My bad, bro. I just didn't like that they pushed you, bro. These guys, and this is something that's happened before. Drake will he will go with an entourage with people, and they will just start being the worst. They will start pushing people around. They'll start messing with people. It's been documented that his team is like that with people. So I didn't like that they were doing if that security guard that you drew, bro, if he ever messes with you again, bro, I'm slapping the fuck out of him for you, bro.
Thank you.
I swear to God, bro.
I think they were acting cool.
Fuck with David, y'all. Hey, and I believe what you're saying, bro. I understand. Like, I don't want to try to convince you to say something otherwise, bro. Whatever your story is your story, bro. And I really appreciate you telling me everything that happened. Were you ever familiar with this back and forth that's been taking place with Drake and Kendrick? Like, were you aware of this or no?
No, I still don't know what that is. Really, I don't. I don't understand it. I don't know Kendrick at all. So I don't know. So when I hear people talking about it, I think I got just a little bit of it. Well, they're both rappers and they're both, I don't know. I really don't know what that is.
Yeah, it was like they just had a back and forth, and there was a lot. And this is why this picture is going viral the way that it is. You know, I had shared this picture of your art right next to Kendrick Lamar's music video for Luther. And
Okay.
a lot of people are saying that, well, not a lot of people, but there is some rumors out there that Kendrick has a mole in Drake's camp, right? A spy, if you will.
Oh, I see. Oh, okay.
And
Yeah.
your video came out March 31st.
Right.
This video came out April 11th.
Right.
So it looks like someone had drew, or it looks like someone had gained some type of inspiration from your drawing for this music video.
Yeah. Yeah,
Now,
I was just trying
does
to.
this look telling to you? Does this look like a
No,
spinning
not at
image?
all. That's why I posted it, because I thought it was so funny. When I saw it, I thought, well, because that police officer was sitting really far down the hall. And I just drew him in there. And I usually use blue when I'm doing something so I don't have to commit so much, because I was trying to get the scale of like where she was sitting and the seats. And the police officer was sitting so far away, it was all off balance. So I could see what it is. I just thought it was funny, but yeah, there was a cop sitting there. I wish the security guard was sitting there. But when I drew the security guard, he's sitting in the exact same seat that she's sitting in the other painting. But he moved. When she came out, he gave her the seat. Like he just went and stood up. So, it just happens to be like that. But it's just me setting my painting up. And
oh, okay.
So all I did was, it's a watercolor too, so I can wash away that cop at the end. He only sat there for a minute, and a lot of people get uncomfortable when I'm drawing them because there was a lot of cop action at one point, the second day, because they couldn't stop the public from photographing these, because after they knew he was in the building, all the staff was coming down and trying to photograph him. So the cops were all over the place the second day that I saw them. But yeah, I mean, it is funny the way it was setting up. And I just thought it has nothing to do with each other. And I'm not Kendrick's spy.
Oh, no, not that you're the spy, but how do I explain it? They feel that he got inspiration because they knew of your video 4 months ago before this video came out. Right.
No way. Yeah, it's Auditing Canada, I think, told Canada Cop Watch, hey, Dave's. Do you know Canada Cop Watch?
Is it like a YouTube channel?
Yeah, he's an auditor here in Toronto,
okay.
And I've been watching. That's over the COVID. I ended up watching a lot of auditors from the United States, and then suddenly in the last year before COVID ended, Canada went crazy, and all these amazing auditors came up, and Canada Cop Watch is I think one of the biggest. And what happened was he shared the video. Another auditor what was happening when I went back to court, all three of the auditors, my favorite auditors, and Rebel TV, they were all in court. They were all getting arrested for journalism. And I was like, hold on a second here. And I started to follow them. And that's why I thought, if I don't start doing YouTubes and talking about my court art, I'm sort of like a phony, because I am an auditor. In court, I'm an auditor. And I was reaching out to the auditors, but I don't think they were making much of a connection between what I was doing, what they were doing. And now I think we're working together. And Canada Cop Watch, looked at my stuff, and we've been talking a little bit about collaborating. to talk about what it is I'm seeing. So he's on charges right now. Canada Cop Watch and Auditing Canada is on charges. I'm just watching these guys, and what they do is bring them in the courts, and then they throw it out after like 4 months of torturing them and keeping them on bail conditions. It's pretty rough. Yeah. Another one that you brought up, Mad Lab Press, Jason Barris.
Right.
You were showing that image. He was another one. He was an ex-police officer, and he became, he tried to do some press, and they're taking him to traffic court. They pulled him over. The cops pulled him over and said, "Hey, yeah, we know you're filming us. Here," and they handed him $5,000 in tickets. They just went nuts on him, and he's taking it to court. Like, they don't like being filmed here, and it's pretty rough.
And I do believe that you should still do YouTube. I mean, you did a few videos already, and look at you already.
Oh yeah. Well,
so I mean, there's no harm in doing it, man.
I just felt like, sorry.
Nah, I feel like you should be doing YouTube, bro, because the more that you kept doing it, I mean, I know it took 4 months, but it really caught traction right as soon as it got to the right areas of the internet.
Yeah, I think I just when I did do it, I was trying to get into it, and then I just stopped. I do want to continue doing it. I don't know what it was. It just felt like I was just doing a diary. I'm sure maybe when you started, it was the same thing. You felt like you were talking to yourself. But yeah, maybe because I got a bigger sort of audience right now. I'm sure I'm going to start doing it. Like right away on Monday, I think I'm going to go to court and talk about it and what it is I'm doing, right? I'm following about maybe 30 cases right now. And I think I also get emotionally drained. Like a lot of times when you leave court and like mothers killed their children.
Oh my God.
Prisoner is getting friggin' tortured in jail. I mean, sometimes I just leave and I go, I don't know. And I feel like when I do my videos, the stress shows. And I think I have to get over that. I really do want to share my story because I plan on, like, you did bring that up. I plan on retiring when I'm 80. Like,
oh my God.
I'm an artist. I can't retire right now. I feel like I've just started my career. Like after what I'm doing, my art is taking off. Now it seems like my YouTube is taking off.
And that's why I was saying you were so upset because this was your livelihood. This was something that you do. And they were really fucking with you, bro. They were really pushing you out the courtroom. Drake's fucking security guards are laughing at you. But let's just be real and let's get back to the point because everybody's hooked on who the woman is. And yes, guys, he did say that it looks like Sophie, Drake's baby mom, Adonis's mom. However, what he also said is not about who the woman is. It's about why is Drake there in the first place. Am I correct, David?
That's right.
Because it can't be no walk in the park if they're going to family court. It has to be something very severe, something like that of that nature, correct?
Yeah. Mostly in family court, it's not so much severe as it is. It's about money. It's a lot of time it's about money. But I would say, yeah, it's severe, like the one in between Drake and the one in between, because I don't know what Drake's was all about, but the two that I did before, the worst one was when the mother was trying to take the child out of the country. You could tell that man was really stressed, and he had to convince the judge that this was not going to work for him. He did not want to do it, and my heart breaks to think that the judge was in favor of the mother. It didn't look like it from where I was sitting. It didn't look like it at all, that she was taking that bullshit. The woman said, I can't get a job in Canada.
Wow.
And the judge was like, I don't get it. Like, I don't get it. It seems like a lame excuse. And it looks like you are alienating the child from the father.
It seemed like he was alienating her as well, because if it is Sophie, I looked into Sophie a little bit. She hadn't posted on social media for a while. And then all of a sudden, after she goes to court with Drake, if it is her that went to court with Drake, all of a sudden she started a podcast. So could there be a chance where a judge tells somebody that they can't post on social media, or they can't? Could he restrict her from posting online? Would the judge allow that, or could they allow something like that? Because she had it posted for a while, and when I looked up online, she started posting after this court situation transpired. So I was just curious to know if that was a thing. If you've ever gone in court and saw that people restrict people from using social media.
I'm not sure. I did look at her Instagram. She has an Instagram. That's the only
Right.
one I looked into. But if there's a publication ban on whatever she was doing in that courtroom, yeah, she has to abide by it. But I don't know. It's up to her if she wants to talk about what happened. I don't understand. Even in a podcast, people must be asking about it. I don't know why she doesn't talk about it. What was she doing in the court that day? Is she okay? Has everything worked out in court for her?
Well, the thing is that I don't think that anybody has went up and asked her, because if they do ask her, I don't think that she's going to want to speak on the matter. I mean, you said it yourself, right? When you went up, when she thought that you were a journalist, she didn't want nothing to do with you, and then she found out that you were drawing her, and she was like, all right, that's okay. So I'm pretty sure it's going to be the same energy all around. Like, I don't think she's going to want to, if it is her, if you say that it is her, and then it would be crazy if we say, did you go to court? She says, I never went to court. That's another thing. So I feel like maybe she should get asked if she would.
I'm 100% positive it was her. It looked exactly like her when I saw that picture. And when I saw her pictures on Instagram, I said, that's her. When she got up and walked away, I remember at the end of the day, I just said, wow. Like, yeah. And then when I looked at her Instagram photos, I thought, okay, like, she's really got a unique body and she shows it off. Like, she shows it off. But she did. The only thing I noticed about the Instagram, maybe she's just a very private mother and she's not going to talk about those situations, because on Instagram, I noticed that she didn't have her child in one picture. She was always surrounded. Almost every one of them seemed to be surrounded by men. She was shaking this man's hand. She was with this group of people. So she was doing stuff. I don't know what she does in her life. I understood that she was a stripper in.
I think she's an artist, man. I think she's an artist just like you, bro.
She just wrote the word art in her Instagram, art. And there was one picture where she was, standing next to art. But the rest of them, where she seemed to be accepting awards, she seemed to be just surrounded. Like, she seemed like she was like, I don't know, just being somewhat of a celebrity. So people probably, I have no idea. But her Instagram, it was only 14 pictures too, I think. It didn't seem like it was that busy. And it also didn't seem like she had a lot of followers. Do you know what she talks about in her podcast?
I just found out that she had a podcast, because when you had said that it was her, I was like, all right, well, let me just see what's going on. And the recent thing that she's done is start a podcast. But all of this is transpired after you had saw them in court. So that's why I was wondering. I'm wondering if she wasn't able to talk until the court date finished, or you know what I mean? But even in the podcast, she doesn't really say anything. She just talks with her friend about like entrepreneurship, I think, if that's what I'm correct about. Okay. But I'm not sure. I probably had to check out a couple episodes and I'll see what exactly she says. But I think the big thing to take away from is, it's not about who she is, it's about why are they there. And I appreciate taking your time to tell us exactly what happened, because a lot of people were like, yo, who is this guy? 4 months later, he just comes out of nowhere with all this crazy information. And I know you just gotten thrown into all of this mess. You don't even know what's going on.
Yeah.
And that's why it felt more real, was because you weren't somebody that was spying on this guy. You weren't trying to find information, look into it or whatever. You just happened to be there at the right place at the right time. And it's crazy that you say that it was just empty, that there was nobody there. It was just you, and it was just whoever the attending parties were. And I think that's the crazy part about it too. Why was this so private? Why are they making this so private? My problem is, if it's about child support, why are they making it so private? I think child support is the most least thing to worry about in family court, right?
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, I just, yeah, I can't imagine what they were doing in there, but yeah, like I said, I think it was support for her. I think that was what that was all about. Um, I'm pretty sure whatever it is, the child support, maybe she was asking a lot more for child support than he was willing to give. And he was probably saying, you're getting this for child support when I have them half the time. Like, you don't know what issues are coming up in that room.
Right.
So, and that's the thing, I don't know how much time they had spent together, whether they were in love or was it a one night stand.
Yeah,
The
it was a
whole
one
thing
night
is,
stand.
yeah.
Their relationship is not really like a relationship that they've had over time. He
Yeah.
actually hid his son from the world, like, for a long period of time, and then nobody knew that he even had a baby mother.
Oh,
You see, this is where the issues start happening. He hid his child, and he hid the fact that he had a baby mother.
yeah.
So he gets into a beef, and then they start saying that he's hiding another child after he's been
Oh,
exposed of doing this before. So you
okay.
come around, yeah. So you come around showing people in family court, and a lot of people are thinking like, "Holy fuck! Like,
Yeah.
is this the person that he's hiding? Is he hiding another child? Because that was what he did the first time with her in the first place. So this
Right.
this is where this energy is coming from. So if you get a lot of if you get a lot of heat from one side or another side, it's only because this has been an ongoing thing,
Yeah.
at least for the better part of a year and a half. But the baby mother situation and his child,
Yeah.
that had occurred back in like 2018. But you could see why
Right.
people are so eager to know who this woman is because
That's
now
right.
he's just been exposed about hiding another child, allegedly. But from what you're saying, I believe what you're saying because you have no reason to at least lie because you had no idea what was going on.
That's
Nobody
right.
had knew what was like your channel was until
That's
somebody
right.
had grabbed it and then started sharing it on the internet.
That's right. Yeah.
But yes, go ahead.
Even when sorry, what? Oh, okay. So even when I when I put the video out the first time, I was expecting something. Like I was expecting it is Drake. I am talking about him. So I was a little bit prepared for something to happen. For it to happen 4 months later, because somebody who did have a large audience shared it, like I was a little bit ready. But I wasn't ready for all the like hiding a child and all of that stuff, and sort of a raft between two rappers too. I didn't expect that that's all. So just a bunch of names came at me, but I'm not involved at all, hardly in the rap world. Um,
Right.
so I was having a hard time just understanding what people were talking about.
Yeah, yeah. It seems like I'm kind of filling you in as we're talking about it as we're going
Roughly, yeah,
along. Yeah, so
that's
like
right.
that's how I know, like, oh, okay. Because that's the whole problem is that a lot of people are gonna think that, that you've already been talked to, someone already talked to you. But my thing is that this was just such a genuine thing that nope, like, and another thing is too, that painting that you have, would you be able to get not on, if you can't do it on camera, would you be able to get those signatures or those initials that you had gotten that you written down that were on that board?
You mean right now?
If you can.
I just can't imagine what book I put it in. Like I'm pretty sure I had a book that day, and I was just writing it in there as a note. Um, so yeah, I have a bunch of books here. I like for it takes me about maybe 2 months to fill up one book, and I should put the date on the book. But when I do send them to the archives, I sort of work on it. But yeah, I would just be sitting here flipping through pages, hoping I'd find it. It would take a while.
Whenever you can, because you said those were the initials of the people attending the court, right? So it'll be Drake initials
Exactly.
and the one. Would you be able to, when you find it, send it to me so we could just confirm that it is her?
For sure. For sure. Let me just plug this in. One second.
Okay.
There we go. Yeah, definitely. I like to do that. And a lot of times what the people that are watching me, I have two different sides. People are only interested in the courts, the Constitution, the right to go inside the courtrooms, and other people were telling me or warning me this is just all about star people wanting juice on movie stars and singers and stuff. And so I understand it. They said keep your focus. I understand.
Right.
Because I am trying to keep my focus, and I do want to hopefully get a lawyer one day and see what's going to happen. Because if I start going into family court, which I haven't lately because I've been so busy with criminal court, but when I went across the street to do family courts, I was doing it for a specific reason. I'm following one particular person who's getting crushed in court, a man, and it's horrible what they're doing to him. So I said, well, I'm going to go in family court just to see what it's like. And as I went in, I looked it up and it says, yes, it is open. It is open. So when I start to go back to family court in the next couple of months, I want to see, did something change since I did the Drake court case? Are they going to be, you're not allowed in, you're not allowed to, are they going to start restricting me? Are they going to start being like, unconstitutional? That's what I have a feeling is going on. I think what I'm going up against it right now. I have a feeling that I'm going to have to start to fight to go into family court. I don't think it's going to be as easy. I think what I did caused a stir in the courtrooms.
Right.
And I want to sort of get it clarified so that I can start going into family courts. As much as when I walk into a criminal court, I never have a problem. It's when to walk down to family court and all of a sudden it's like smoke and mirrors. They're telling me something. It's not true. We hope he believes it. They try to turn people away. And you're like, why? And they never give an answer. And I think I want to get a clarity on that because I want to follow family court more than criminal court in the next 15 years. 15, because I'm retiring at 80 and I have a couple of goals. And one of my goals is to understand family court. It is killing a lot of men. It is destroying their lives. Women too, but mostly men. Like the men are being crushed in these court cases and nobody's doing anything about it. And they're keeping it secret. And the one case I watched with that fireman and that woman, it was horrible. I could see the judge was on the woman's side. She was beautiful too. And even the commissioner came out and said, did you see the way that father was acting? And I'm like, no, I didn't. But I could see how much money you're taking from him. This guy is broke. He has 2 families he's taking care of. And he's taking care of a wife that he hasn't been married for 10 years. It's a common story. I'm following so many cases on YouTube and also in the courts where they've taken the mother's side 100% and not the father's. It's so common. So I understand why people were trying to warn me on social media to say don't fall into the trap of the star sort of part of it, the story, all of that. Keep focused on taking this to court, getting a lawyer, and people are saying, "Can I help you? Can I help you do that?" Because we have to fight in court. We can't sort of like just let it go. We have to fight these, these court decisions.
And that's why I was saying, if you were to actually be there in court when Drake was in there, you would have most likely supported his issue because you would have told the truth if he was in the right or in the wrong. But if he's blocking you out of court, it does seem kind of sketchy of why you don't want people to know what y'all are talking about. Child support doesn't seem like it's a big deal to hide the public from this scenario. But then again, these are celebrities, and a lot of people don't like, harassing a celebrity, But it was just strange how you were the only one there. Usually they try to keep it private because of them being famous. But you would think from what you're saying, you would want people there so he could be able to defend himself. And so they wouldn't take the woman's side, right? Is that what you're saying?
That's right. That they wouldn't take the woman's side. And that's all I'm guessing is that she was asking for money for herself. I doubt that it was for the child. I'm pretty sure they would have had that in place, especially because he has, I think, equal access to the child. I believe they both have equal access. I don't know.
But we
From
don't know.
what
But
I've
you don't know
heard,
for sure why they were there all together.
not at all. But
Okay.
people were just saying that the child is with him all the time, and he's with the mother. So I didn't see. I can't imagine it would have been about the child. I'm pretty sure they would have had that in place. But she is probably asking for money too. And because he's a star, she probably asked for a lot of money. But I'm only guessing that that was the issue that day. And I think it should have been public. Should have been public. If they couldn't have settled it out of court, then it's public. We pay for the lawyer. We pay for the judge. And the judge is making the decision for us about what to do in the situation. We're paying him. And I looked him up, and he was making quite a lot. It was like 300 and something thousand a year the judges are making. Like, it's incredible how much they make.
Would it be possible to to get the records of this case moving forward? Not you, perhaps, but like anybody, if it's a public record.
From what I understand, it is. I think I'm going to be working on that with Canadian Cop Watch, Canada Cop Watch. We're going to
wow.
FOIA request to find out. He's calling FOIA request. Not even sure if I'm using the word right, but that's what it is. So working with somebody who actually keeps doing that. A lot of the auditors here in Canada, what we're doing is we're getting the body cams from the police officers when they're arresting them. And it's working. Like, who would have known you could do that? But we're learning a lot from the United States. Like, you guys have amazing auditors there, top notch, and they are really, really fighting for, these signs. You can't come in here. You can't do this. You can't film here. Just randomly putting up these signs, and it's against the Constitution. So, yeah, it's crazy. So if it gets the longer we let it happen, the worse it gets. And especially when it comes to the courtroom, if we're going to be constantly kicked out of family court because they're calling it like, private matters. It's like, well, why are you using our judges? Like, how can it be private if these judges, we're paying for them? Like, I understand some
Right,
things.
exactly.
Where the person lives, where the children go to school. Who cares? How much are you giving the child? Is the child safe? That's all we care about. The child is safe. We believe it, and we're good to go.
And I think you should. I think what you're doing is really good. I appreciate that you took your time coming out here. I know that you've been a court artist for a really long time, and I hope that you continue doing so in your profession. And I really appreciate you coming out here, man. I'm really thankful, bro. I didn't think that you were gonna come out here.
Oh, really? Oh, thank you.
Yeah, because I contacted you, I think yesterday. So I really appreciate, because and what your story did caused a big buzz, man. So I'm glad that I was able to get you in here, at least for you to say your piece to the public. And hopefully, whenever you get with the Cop Watch, we could find out the record. Would you be able to find that record, that case number for that scenario, or no? Would I have to go to the Ontario Public Records for that?
I'll look into it, and maybe down the road, maybe have a Canada Cop Watch and me on at the same time. He's a great guy.
Sure.
He's a great guy. I'm pretty sure he's watching tonight. So.
Well, shout out Canadian Cop Watch, man. Y'all tap in with David, man. Y'all tap in with us. If so, you could say, you saying they could get the case number? What you're saying?
I have a feel. Well, I just have a feeling that working with somebody else will help move things along.
Okay.
Yep. Understand the process. Yeah.
And so we'll do that if you can, at whatever time you can. If you could give me if you can, bro, you give me the initials for the art. Right.
Sure.
If whenever you could find it, I know you have to go through all your books. I know you have a lot of drawings, but whenever you can, I'd appreciate it, because we could finally put this to rest. If you have the initials of the woman, then we could put it to rest right there. So I appreciate you, brother.
Coming
on stage. So much. Yeah, for sure, man. David in the chat, y'all. Y'all show David some love, man. I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. I'll talk to you. Hopefully I get to talk to you off live, and we could, and get on the call later on, and we could probably speak about everything that's happening. And I appreciate you being here, man. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Take care, right?
Take care, man. All right, y'all. Y'all get the likes up, man. We talked to David, bro. We talked to David. Big shout out to David. David in the chat. David. I appreciate him being here. I'm thankful for him taking his time to come out here and try to explain a few things. Now, I can't change what this man says. If he's going to tell it what it is, he's going to say what he saw. And all we could do is just be grateful that he is taking his time to explain what is going on. Big W to David in the chat, y'all. Big W for him. W, everybody, bro, that's in here. I wouldn't have been able to do this if it wasn't for y'all, man. If it wasn't for David either, man. So I appreciate everybody that's in the building. Shout out the company, man. Shout out the company, man, in the building. It's all happening. Y'all already know what to do, man. Hey, let's go, bro.